advising before you hand the dog off to Humane to get paw prints and measure the dog's paws?
Just paw print measurements, was that it? Measurements are 3 inches wide, 3.5 long. Photographs taken. Prints were impossible.
Alrighty, let's start talking about Travis DECKER and Whitney DECKER. Travis DECKER is still on the run. It's Saturday. Please forgive my voice again. I'm getting over a bout of pneumonia, but that hasn't stopped me from requesting new documents in this case, going over things like this video. Now, apparently, Whitney DECKER had posted this Father's Day tribute to Travis on her TikTok. Her TikTok is now private, but I think it's good in terms of it shows more of Travis's interaction with the girls, his daughters previously, how he looks with his head completely shaven. I mean, has he shaved his head? It also shows what a good father I guess he was in the past, but I believe Whitney is also putting more photos out there so people can see his tattoos. I mean, you see the different iterations of his tattoos. In all these photos, you see certain close-ups of his arms, of his legs, of his stomach, his abdomen. That's a really pretty photo there. It's very sad. I don't like the backlash that Whitney is getting. I mean, just look at all these crazy comments she's getting on the Daily Mail. And of course, all around the internet, I've seen people just criticize this woman who's lost her 3 daughters. She's got to be in inconsolable amount of grief. And of course, her lawyer is speaking out for her. But folks are just calling her odd and claiming she didn't protect her daughters. They don't understand she had to abide by a court order. And people aren't giving her grace and they're misunderstanding. There's a lack of reading comprehension. Because people, I'm sure they're going to misinterpret what she's doing. She released this TikTok video through her attorney to people, and obviously it shows them in happier times, perhaps prior to their divorce in 2022. So you can see even on his thigh there. You know, particular tattoos maybe we wouldn't have noticed before. And that could help people find him. We're going to talk about his Google searches for jobs in Canada. And these new 3 documents I just received from the court, and just how close he was to the Canadian border. Maybe he's in Canada. I don't know. This one really shows his tattoos there. Just everything people can look out for. But I don't like the backlash Whitney is getting. Some of these photos do remind me of Chris Watts, especially the little video coming up where the girls are in the car. Maybe it does show some narcissistic type of tendencies. The girls are so beautiful. And maybe Whitney is showing like he was a good dad. You know, maybe she's trying to get across he was a good dad. Look at him holding his babies. Look at him being a military man, serving his country. Later, she says something was broken within him. But I already know what's going to happen. Everything's going to be misinterpreted. You know, as I film this today, it is what? Saturday. Father's Day 2025 is not until next week. So obviously, even though we don't know the date this video was posted, we have no idea when she posted this video. But I doubt that Whitney posted a tribute video to Travis after he murdered their 3 girls. But I'm sure that's going to be the narrative that's being promoted. Such beautiful girls. I guess Whitney sewed their clothes. This is the video that reminds me of, I don't know, Bella and CeCe Watts. Now we're going to listen to more dispatch at the end, whatever I can find. You know, I've been going through again the dispatch from the day the girls were discovered, just seeing what interesting tidbits I could find. So far, I only found stuff like Homeland Security asking for beacons on the helmets be turned on. They don't want visible light IR. They're asking about armor for SWAT. You know, I don't know the layout, someone says, but given the circumstances, I would say yes.
T6 HSI is asking for SWAT to have any on their helmets turned on. And if they don't want visible light, IR.
K6.
1720.
K7 to K6 or 1K3 direct. Can we get clarification on if we need armor for SWAT?
Audio.
1K3, I don't know the layout. Given the circumstance, I would say yes.
Audio.
7 received. 7 Rivercom, can you see if you can relay that to somebody on some frequency up there to get clarification on armor? We're just going to start getting it until we hear otherwise.
K7, copy.
1K3 to K7, I think the only problem is going to be terrain and access. I'm working on getting a little bit more direct contact, but I'll relay if I hear anything.
Rivercom at that point was 13 minutes off the campground.
Copy.
Rivercom, Troy 169. We're about 13 minutes off of the campground. Rivercom, we will also be monitoring Washington Learn as well. Copy. If we need to relay anything, we will relay.
Okay, 15 Rivercom.
K3 Rivercom, do they have cell service established out there yet?
K3, they had Starlink at one point. The phone dropped.
K3.
1836.
In the meantime, let's take a look at these 3 new documents that I received from the court. This is the most interesting one, the affidavit. Previously, we covered the 4 documents I received, and since then, we've got a little more info. So I'll just go over these one-pagers really quickly. This was just filed on Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Travis Caleb Decker's charges and penalties: 1 felony count, unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, showing the possible penalty for these specific charges. CAG not more than 5 years, up to $250,000 fine, not more than 3 years of supervised release, $100 special penalty assessment. And this short criminal complaint is different than the previous ones. Someone named Keegan Stanley, the complainant in this case, stating the following is true to the best of his knowledge and belief. On or about June 2nd, 2025, we know that's when they found the girls, unfortunately, in the county of Chelan. Locals have even found me on Facebook. I want to pronounce all these names correctly. I was thinking of Shanann, so Chelan. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. It talks about his unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, signed by the judge. Now, what we're going to find here is just in the next document just how close the discovery of the girls was to the Pacific Crest Trail and just how close to the Canadian border it is. We know the girls were discovered at Rock Island Campground, right there. Now, one portion in Hope Lake, I've looked it up, Hope Lake connects to the Pacific Crest Trail, and Travis is pretty familiar with these particular mountains. We'll go over it. I want to see how close it would be if it were a straight line from here to here. I believe Travis would know a lot of shortcuts. Of course, this is showing if he took this circuitous route, it would take him 20 hours. But what if he knew a way through here to just hop on that Pacific Crest Trail and then just make his way up through the Canadian border? Allegedly, people who know the area say there are ways you can get into Canada, without going through, of course, customs and the formal way of doing it. And Travis probably knows how to do it. Let's look at this document. I will link to all the documents below like I did before. This 5-pager tells us the most. This affidavit talks about Keegan Stanley and all his accomplishments. He's a law enforcement officer. He has more than 6 years experience, and he's captured numerous wanted violent fugitives in the state of Washington and throughout the country. Here's hoping he gets a favor to find this man, or someone perhaps might spot him on the Pacific Crest Trail. We're going to talk a little bit more about Travis's car accidents too, how I tried to find the body cam video. I tried to get the audio, the dispatch audio. So far, I haven't been able to get it. Well, this guy says he's been involved in multiple fugitive investigations where whether the subject has fled from state to state or even out of the U.S. He has U.S. Marshals training. He knows he's been able to capture people who are fugitives who travel as a means to avoid prosecution, which is what Travis Caleb Decker is doing if he's still alive. So if you want to read all this, I just want to get to the interesting Google searches. You can download them below at the link. I found this interesting. The case has involved many law enforcement agencies. Of course, they have the same mission, bring Travis to justice for the victims in this case. They don't all share the same functions or tasks. So he says, accordingly, I do not know the contents of or access to reports, body cam videos for all the different participating agencies, which is interesting because thus far the Wenatchee Police Department has given me an estimated date of, they're giving me additional info, whatever I FOIA'd. That'll take them potentially through August 8th, 2025 to provide it to me. But what's also interesting is in all my FOIAs, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said, Chelan, I'm sorry, I'm medicated. Please note regarding your requests for body cam videos, basically, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office does not participate in a body-worn camera program. How I wish they did. If they would have had any body cam videos of Travis, that would have helped us hear his voice and everything. But back to the document, speaking of the remains of the girls found at Rock Island Campground and how it's only 11 miles away from the Pacific Crest Trail, which is notably very close to the Canadian border. And you see here, I don't really like this headline. People are already having backlash towards Whitney. Mom of 3 shares bizarre Father's Day tribute to Killer X who suffocated them, as if she created that video in response to the killings, which we don't know the date the video was created. We can kind of guesstimate based on some of the photos. I mean, this is how the girls looked, I guess, most recently. And we had that video of the girls, doing the limbo over their grandparents' house.
Make room for it. Okay. Decker. Nice.
You can't stop halfway, Abby.
There we go, Abby. Nice. Olivia. Okay, bringing it down.
Oh, nice.
Bringing it up.
No, put it back.
Bringing it down. Abby, can you check to make sure I'm doing the video right? Okay. Oh, okay, Abby's next.
I like feel that.
Rachel, can you make sure the video's on, please?
I broke my butt.
Please, can you check?
Get on.
Okay, can you make sure?
Yeah, it is. Wait.
Yes! Whoa!
Kind of, but you were really close. It's supposed to be right there.
Okay, go.
You're funny even.
Nice. Heavy. Little feet. Nice. Olivia.
Come on, Olivia. Come on, Olivia.
You got it. Oh, don't pull the chair. That's cheating. Oh!
Let's see if I can. Olivia, move.
But these photos included in the TikTok, obviously the girls are a lot younger. I don't know if it's a video she posted last Father's Day or the one prior, so I think she's getting some unfair criticism. The youngest girl, Olivia, was 5, and so people are saying, oh, she put Pharrell Williams' song Happy in the background of that video. But we can see here the 20-second video shared exclusively with people through Whitney's attorney. It was shared on June 6th. It was made as a Father's Day tribute, but I know some people will conflate that with her making it currently. We have no idea when the video was made. It's unclear when exactly the video was posted online. And just because the lawyer is saying stuff like Travis was a present and active father up until the end, still attending the girls' soccer games, dance, theater productions, that doesn't make it untrue. And that doesn't mean that Whitney's having all these lovey-dovey feelings towards Travis. I mean, she did fight, claiming he neglected his parental duties towards a child. He's had long-term emotional, physical problem that gets in the way. It sounds like she was trying to give him a chance to be a good parent. He didn't step up to the plate. He let his demons overwhelm him. The lawyer is saying Travis was not a violent man with Whitney or the girls ever. But then we have some neighbor coming out saying kind of the opposite. Okay, so Whitney's neighbor, Ben Wynn, he spoke with the Daily Mail, and he described what they call a disturbing interaction with Travis just days earlier. So apparently Travis arrived at the family's home, we know, Friday afternoon to pick up the girls. The visit was scheduled, and Wynn recalled a sad look. He had a sad look on Travis's face and said he seemed disoriented. So when the neighbor is saying what was strange was that he kept asking me the same question over and over, like he couldn't remember he'd already asked it. So apparently Wynn's home is just yards away from the Decker residence. It's what's known as the Apple capital of the world. Of course, this man Wynn is saying the news has deeply shaken him, I'm sure, and he shared these final text messages exchanged with Whitney Decker over the weekend when she was still searching for the girls. Wynn said, "I just don't know how he could kill those beautiful kids." Now this is the part that's throwing people. Whitney had previously confided in Wynn that her ex-husband Travis had become unstable and physically abusive, which ultimately led to their divorce. She described him as crazy and said he had at times been homeless and living out of his truck. So that's opposite of what we've heard from other statements. It says Wynn knew the family for years. He described Whitney as a devoted mother who worked 2 jobs and took college classes to provide a better life for her daughters. So, I mean, she was grinding. Single mom, at once married to a military man, which can't be the easiest life when they're on all these tours of duty. And the Decker girls, he said, were kind and thoughtful. Evelyn once gave him a friendship bracelet for mowing their lawn. That's sweet. He mowed their lawn. And Peyton, she wrote a heartfelt note to Wynn's son, enclosing a crumpled dollar bill as a gift. That's so sweet. That reminds me when I did that. I tried to give my mom a dollar bill when I was a little girl. Anyway, when Decker first moved in, Travis was apparently clean cut and physically fit. It says he was a former commando who later joined the National Guard. But after the couple separated, Wynn noticed a stark decline in Travis's appearance. Travis became gaunt, unshaven, and seemed withdrawn. So, when Travis picked up the girls Friday at 5, Wynn tried to make small talk, asking about his work. Travis says he was doing construction out of state. By 8 p.m., he had failed to return the girls, prompting Whitney to report them missing. Later that weekend, Wynn received an odd text from Whitney asking him to move a car that was parked in front of her home in case Travis comes. Then Wynn asked Whitney if she heard anything, and she responded, "There's a chance there are helicopters going out." Then the next day, Wynn texted Whitney again, "Any news about your kids yet?" Sadly, Whitney replied, "They found their bodies. They can't find Travis." Now that news made Wynn break down in tears. He said, "Oh my God, I'm so sad. How did they die?" And Whitney responded, "I'm not sure yet." Now see, Father's Day isn't until next week, June 15th, 2025. So I just wanted to say that as I make this video. So later people won't conflate. They won't conflate that as if, oh, she made this after Father's Day 2025. She gave him a tribute. Anyway, this affidavit is not intended to detail every circumstance, but it does give us the broad strokes. So it's saying on June 3rd, 2025, this was the day after the girls were found, this person reviewed the arrest warrant from Chelan County for Travis Decker. Now we've gone over that. His arrest, authorizing his arrest for the 3 counts of aggravated murder and the 3 counts of kidnapping. We saw that no bail until first appearance. So the marshals were contacted to assist in order to arrest Travis. I hope they can help. So between June 2nd and June 4th, investigators were able to get Decker's Google accounts. I'm glad they were able to get them so quickly. Google provided those documents, so it's helping them maybe get an idea of where Travis is planning on going, where he could be. So look at this, May 26th, Travis was searching for how does a person move to Canada? How to relocate to Canada. Jobs Canada, Jobs Canada. He visited a site, findajobcanada.ca. And then they took a photo of these searches. 5:55 p.m. He's visiting the Canada.ca job site, how to relocate to Canada. We're looking at his plan. So by that Friday, May 30th, he was kidnapping his children. But in between that, he had that accident. Previous documents we went over claimed he had a collision on May 27th, and he was in fact cited for some infractions by WPD. And we went over he had another collision earlier in the month, May 4th, and he left the scene. Okay. But documents obtained by KIRO7 show that this May 27th crash actually happened at the intersection of Miller Street and 5th Street on Wednesday, May 28th around 3:52 a.m. So that's different. And I definitely pulled down the audio trying to find that. Somewhere in here, I was looking for it. I didn't hear anything about an accident. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen, of course. It just probably had no audio on the dispatch regarding it. The Wenatchee Police Department said that Wednesday morning, and part of me is like, what was Travis doing out there driving around? We know he's homeless. He's driving around at 3:52 a.m. Erratic, I guess. He's already been searching a day or two before about moving to Canada. So that Wednesday morning, there was a non-injury collision. Decker was in his GMC truck, that famous white GMC truck, stopped at a red light behind another car. The light turned green. Both vehicles began to move. Then the car slowed for traffic ahead of it, and Decker rear-ended the car. First of all, how many people are out driving around at 3:52 a.m.? Police noted there was damage to the front end of Decker's truck and rear end damage to the car. Decker was interviewed. This is the body cam I want to see. Perhaps this is what they'll give me in August. Police say he admitted to not having car insurance. So Decker was cited for nearly $200 for following too closely. I hate tailgaters. That is one of my pet peeves. And $559 for operating his truck without insurance. So we know that contributed to his mind state. So basically, the 26th, he's searching for Canadian jobs. The 27th into the 28th, he's crashing into the back of a car. May 4th, earlier that month, he had another hit and run. He left the scene. Now, by Friday, he's picking up his 3 girls and doing horrific things to them. Finally, they found them on June 2nd. They found them on the U.S. Forest Service land, Icicle River Road, near Leavenworth, Washington. So we know Decker's truck was found at the scene, but Decker was not. This is the part that fascinated me. The location of the victim's remains is relatively close to the Canadian border and approximately 11 miles from the Pacific Crest Trail, a well-established trail that leads directly to Canada. So Decker, with all his former military member training and navigation, woodlands, mountainous terrain, long-distance movement, survival, numerous other disciplines, he needs those skills to be able to flee in this district of Washington. And he's a very avid and well-versed outdoorsman. We've heard about this. Even when he was young, he loved being outside, apparently. He just recreated in outdoor woodland and mountainous areas, so he knows his way around. He frequently engaged in hiking, camping, survival skill practice, hunting. He even lived off the grid in the backwoods for approximately 2.5 months on one occasion. So he survived for months. Now, he does have some very serious violent felonies. If he's alive, he's facing some very serious violent felonies. They do carry significant prison sentences if convicted. So this guy is saying, look, based on my training and experience, those facing significant prison sentences have a propensity to employ a variety of tactics to avoid detection by law enforcement. Indeed. Stuff like fleeing the area where the crime was committed, crossing state lines, and crossing into other countries. So they don't know where Decker is. At least they didn't by June 5th. Perhaps today, June 7th, they still don't. I don't know. So he was requesting a criminal complaint and arrest warrant be issued. So that's it for newest documents, and I have an alert set up. So anything happening with the United States versus Decker, new documents, I will be alerted pretty much immediately when we have new information. In the meantime, the Pacific Crest Trail, that group on Reddit, they are looking out for him. 20 hours ago, there was this post, photos of Travis Decker, call 911 if seen. There's like 82,000 members in here, so that'll be very helpful. And some people had no idea what was going on with the case. They're like, what's the context? I don't even know. So it's good that people are looking out for him. I'd heard about the Pacific Crest Trail because I loved this Wild book, Wild from Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. This woman, Cheryl Strayed, how she just kind of she was a 22-year-old and her mom died and her marriage was over and she just hiked for thousands of miles on that trail. It was a very good book, but it would help people, get an idea of what he might be facing out there. I was wondering, how do you hide on the PCT? And of course, Reddit to the rescue. They're saying, look, privacy is not too hard to find if you get well away from the trails, because some people are saying if he is on the PCT, it's just crowded enough. Someone's got to spot him. People must know what he looks like. Maybe his hair is still long. I don't know if he's had the chance to shave his face or what. If you see those tattoos, people have got to be able to spot him. Does he look scruffy like this, or did he shave everything? Again, that's why I'm glad Whitney has those not new photos, but photos of how he looks so different, in different places. But they're saying, look, basically, even if a lot of people are hiking the PCT right now, you can find privacy. General rule of the trail: if you see an unaccompanied pack on the side of the trail, keep your head down and walk on. Someone's doing their business. And that's another thing. Travis allegedly was caching. He was hiding supplies. Now, did he go all along the PCT in this premeditated state through the month of May and hide supplies all along the trail so he wouldn't need to bring a big backpack with him? We don't know. He's probably not going to do like a lot of people do, like Cheryl did, go off to these post offices and pre-plan and have these packages waiting on them. That's what she did. But of course, Travis likely is not doing that. He would be caught going into one of these post office places to pick up supplies. So did he hide stuff all along in the wilderness, supplies, or does he know, of course, naturally what he can eat, where to get fresh water in here, what foliage is safe to eat, what's not? If he was able to live off the grid for 2.5 months, my goodness, he can probably survive all in here and avoid any places that might be too cold. It's June, so I'm sure the weather is pretty temperate and nice. Not like when some people experience, the snow-capped mountains and they can only make it so far. I don't know. It's just sad. So listen to any other dispatch I put following this and just stay tuned. Judges 4-9. Certainly I will go with you, said Deborah. Because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours, for the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. So Deborah went with Barak to Kadesh. Sometimes I wonder, will a woman be able to spot him? And imagine anyone hiking alone. Cheryl Strayed, she hiked alone. It's a really good book. She talked about hearing all the music in her head, snippets of music from years ago, and how, it was a really healing experience. It just sounds beautiful. It sounds gorgeous, but I'm glad they're aware of it. I'm glad communities like Pacific Crest Trail are aware of him. The more people who have their eyes out for Travis, the better, and they can look for him, because maybe he is narcissistic enough to kind of treat it like a game, like he's playing, like, na, you guys can't catch me. Maybe that's what he's doing. Either way, it's so sad, and I hope people continue to have compassion for Whitney in this instance. And they're talking about the Travis Decker manhunt, focusing near the PCT, just north of Wellington to Glacier Peak. People have checked flight radar, and they're seeing, okay, those overhead planes are looking for anything perhaps out of the ordinary. I think they will find him before long. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.
HSI is asking for SWAT to have any beacons on their helmets turned on if they don't want visible light IR.
K7 to K6 or 1K3 direct. Can we get clarification on if we need armor for SWAT? 1K3, I don't know the layout. Given the circumstance, I would say yes. 7 received. 7 Rivercom, can you see if you can relay that to somebody on some frequency up there to get clarification on armor? We're just going to start getting it until we hear otherwise.
K7, copy.
1
K3 to K7. I think the only problem is going to be terrain and access. I'm working on getting a little bit more direct contact, but I'll relay if I hear anything.
Copy.
Rivercom, Troy 169. We're about 13 minutes off of the campground. Rivercom, we will also be monitoring Washington Learn as well. Copy. If we need to relay anything, we will relay.
Okay, 15 Rivercom.
K3 Rivercom, do they have cell service established out there yet?
K3, they had Starlink at one point. The phone dropped.
K3.
1836.
Go ahead.
Yes, they want Icicle shut down. K4's call dropped.
Copy. Did they say where?
No. I just spoke to him for a few seconds before the call dropped.
Received. Rivercom, I copy. We're shutting it down at the start of the construction zone. Opposite direction. I can probably assist with that.
Copy. K61 is shutting it down at the start of the construction zone.
K60 Rivercom, yeah, that'll probably work. K61 Rivercom, I have 40 with me. We're blocking.
1K32, 1858.
2632. I'm on Purge. He's gonna come around from the north.
Copy.
Got phone and Starlink. K3 Rivercom.
K3.
I'm just headed up the Icicle now. Go ahead and show me on things. I probably won't have service when I get up there. 45.
K4 advising before you hand the dog off to Humane to get paw prints and measure the dog's paws.
I'll stand by at Snow Lakes for Humane. 545, why don't we just pull into the sleeping lady? Okay, 5 Rivercom, how's the signal?
K5, you have a good signal.
Just paw print measurements, was that it? Measurements are 3 inches wide, 3.5 long. Photographs taken. Prints were impossible.